and some.
How are we doing for time?
And about 1 more minute.
Okay.
I'm writing fast.
Yes. The scribe is over here writing like crazy. She's putting all of your names in for the door prizes. So
We have 2 of them.
yes, 2 fabulous ones. They will be, in full disclosure, they will be the names drawn at the end of the second hour when it's Great Yarns presents Cascade.
Texas has snow? Lord. Oh, everyone, this is Caruso. He's my baby. He will probably come and talk to me periodically through this. I will apologize now. He's named for his voice. So he's like, oh, you're sitting still and talking to people. So, all right, Fontel, I think we probably can get
Are
started.
we on? Okay. You want me to open?
Why don't you open?
All righty. Well, I'm very pleased this morning to welcome you all to the Great Yarns visit of the Cascade Warehouse. We were very happy to be invited, and we got a private tour that most folks never see. So today you're in for a real treat because we videoed part of that. Shannon is here. Shannon is one of the co-owners of Cascade Yarns. So she really took us on an in-depth tour going around the warehouse. It gives you an idea just about the actual warehouse, the size of it, the capacity, and so forth. I know that you will be really impressed. I've been in business since 1984, and Cascade, Shannon, started in 1987.
87.
So we have collaborated over all of those years, way over 30 years of working together. Cascade's been a part of my store since the day that Robert Dunbabin walked in my door, the original owner, and he was my sales rep. So we've had a long-standing relationship, one that we've really treasured throughout the years. So I'm going to turn this over to Shannon and have her tell you a little bit preemptively about Cascade, and then we will join her in her video. Shannon.
Hi, I'm Shannon Dunbabin. My father-in-law started Cascade Yarns in 1987, and I've been with them since 2003 when I came out to marry Rob. And Cascade started kind of as a fluke thing. My father-in-law was up in Canada. He used to do a lot of real estate, and he was up in Canada and something fell through whatever sale he was at, and he ran into somebody at a bar who offered to buy the beer if he could join them. And they'd done importing of rugs and different things over the years. So he's like, well, have you ever thought about selling yarn? And he's like, well, how hard could it be? He knew nothing about yarn. That was kind of famous last words, but they started off distributing Hayfield. And then when Hayfield went bankrupt, all of a sudden he had to figure something else out to keep his business alive and started creating his own label, Cascade Yarns. And that ended up with a lot of trips to Peru, and we discovered the Peruvian Highland wool, which I'll talk about in the video, but it's a hybrid wool that's raised by small independent farmers in Peru. They don't do museling in Peru because there's no, they're high altitude. We don't have the problem with the flies. And they're, like I said, they're raised by small independent farmers, and we have long running relationships with the mills we work with. And we have a history of going and spending time with our mills and understanding the people that are working with us and the people that are producing our yarns and getting to know more about the process and whatnot. So we can have great faith in what we do and have a good understanding of how people are treated that work for these places, the working conditions, and how the yarn is constructed and the quality control measures that are in place. All the yarns that we do sell are OECOTEX certified, which is the high, means they're very, very stringently tested as well as other certifications. So the dye works that are used are safe, and many of the yarns we work with are implementing processes to be more environmentally friendly. Things from adding, I know our main mill in Peru has added a bunch of solar panels to help with the energy, because energy there, energy is such a premium where they are. I've personally been with Cascade since 2003. I did not knit. I grew up in small family business. My grandmother had music stores, and then my father also had a family farm. So for me, it was very natural to continue in a family business and being part of something where you kind of live, eat, and breathe it. And I've gotten where I love knitting and yarn and everything about it, because it's creative and you get to meet people who are really passionate about what they're doing. They're doing something because it's fun and they want to have fun doing it. And this is their release, or this is something they do to create. So I love the creativity and the stress release and everything that people get to do because they get to make something. So with that said, I don't want to take too much time because the videos, I'm going to share my screen. It's going to be 1 second, but I've got a video and we're going to do it in sections. So we're going to have first an overview of the warehouse, and we're getting into Cascade 220. And then when we hit the end of the Cascade 220, I'm going to pause it and we're going to kind of talk about the yarn, some of the models briefly, and then we'll hit the next section and go on through there. And don't hesitate to ask any questions. And I bet the Fair Isle cowl is fabulous. And whoever said thank you for the door prize, you're very welcome. It's a welcome thank you card. So I'm going to share my screen. Give me 1 second and I will get this started and hit here. Hi, I'm Shannon Dunbabin, and I was going to take you through parts of our warehouse and kind of talk to you about some of our yarns. We're going to start with our Cascade 220, which is our flagship yarn. It is kind of our classic yarn that we've had as part of our line for more than 20 years, for a good chunk of the history of the company. I'm wearing the cabled hoodie by Mosa Liebman. It is really, really nice and warm. And this sweater is years old. We've had this model in our line for a number of years. And what's amazing about it is Cascade 220 holds its shape. It wears and makes heirloom quality products. Part of that is the type of wool that happens with Cascade 220, which is as a cross between the native Corriedale and Merino that have been turned loose in Peru into the highlands. And so Cascade 220, one of the phenomenal parts about it is that it supports little independent farmers that are within the highlands of Peru. These are families that are living with raising small quantities of sheep, or sometimes alpacas, as there's no large farms within Peru. There's some fabulous qualities about the Cascade 220, where it has, because it's a hybrid, it has a Z-shaped fiber, which gives it really great long fiber length and lots of body and natural crimp to it. So it holds its shape, great stitch definition. I've heard of countless people ripping out sweaters that they didn't like the way they were before, steaming the yarn and reknitting, and never knowing that that sweater had been something else before, and it made a perfectly good garment that lasted for years and years with proper care. 220 is a hand wash. It will felt. It felts beautifully. You want a felted bowl or a bag, it is your yarn, as it goes really quickly. So we have a number of colors in Cascade 220. There's approximately 167 colors in our line right now. There'll be some new ones added for fall. And as you probably can see, some of our shelves are a little bit bare at the moment. And that's because with COVID-19 pandemic, there's been a general slowdown of all the sources and within the chain. So everything from the material getting to the spinning mill to getting actual container out the door and then getting processed. So, and the mill's also being shut down. But we will be having more coming in a few weeks, which we're very excited about. Another fabulous garment was designed by Nikki Epstein. And it's a really fun piece. It has 4 big blocks, and we will show you the other side. And it adds a cute little collar to it and some fun buttons. Nikki used to sell these buttons, but I'm sure any fabulous button you have. But this is a free pattern on our website. I want to say it's Into the Woods and it's missing its little hat. Here's the tag. Into the Woods ponchette. But this is a really fun piece, and you could pick any 4 blocks you wanted to put together, but she has her 4. I know she has a book that she put out that you could actually substitute other blocks as well, but there are 4 that are included as part of this pattern. We have numerous free patterns on our website, and we'll just be showing off some of these that go along with the 220 in this section. We have 2 different cowls that are the Celtic cable and rib cowl that are 2 different lengths. This one I believe is a 2 skein version. And as you can see, really, really nice. So it's like knitting a scarf, fabulous cables, and then you just throw on the buttons. So it's knit lengthwise rather than in the round, and then you throw on the buttons. This is an adorable little crop sweater that looks great. It's one of those pieces that you can throw on with your favorite black shirt and jeans, or with a long dress, or whichever works for you. It's called the Cardigan Heathers. It comes in a really, really great size range to accommodate a wide range of bodies, as do many of our sweater patterns. But it's a really great, flattering fit. And very versatile, and you can pick your favorite neutral or some bright pop colors to do it in. Here is the shorter version of the Celtic cable and rib cowl. So there are 2 different versions we were shown. One's a longer one. This is more of a single wrap version. Same great stitch definition and cables. Absolutely beautiful piece to wear. A fabulous accessory. Pick your favorite pop color to wear it in. Speaking of accessories, as we well know, we spoke of all the colors that Cascade 220 comes in. And so it lends itself beautifully for color work. This fabulous set was done by Sheila Joynes. It's an Indian Summer Fair Isle set. And you can pick your favorite sets of combinations. I know that on the actual pattern, there are several different options put together for you, but you can pick your favorites and come up with I think it's about 5 colors in it, 2, 3, 4 colors that are in it. But you can put together your very favorite, and it makes an absolutely gorgeous and very warm accessory to have. And then if color work's not your thing, we also have the Celtic cable rib beanie and mittens, which has this really great, once again, we're showing off the fabulous stitch work of the Cascade 220 with the cables. And then we have addition of some lovely buttons for a piece. And I think they're just on there for decoration. You do not have to include the buttons if they're not your thing. But this is a really great, simple set. And I think it's 2 skeins to make the entire set. My father-in-law started Cascade Yarns back in 1987. And he was distributing Hayfield yarns. And when Hayfield went under, he was all of a sudden left with nothing to sell, and realized he needed to brand his own yarn. And Cascade 220 seemed to be one of the first yarns that he put in, and he discovered this wool that was not great for machine knitting, but was absolutely fabulous for hand knitting. And then later on came the felting, but it worked, and it dyes so beautifully and has such a range of colors with a lot of depth with the solids and the heathers, and then a few natural type shades. But the Cascade 220 is just probably one of, other than not being machine washable, is probably our most versatile yarn that we out there. I knit it anywhere from down to 6 to the inch to 4.5 to the inch. If you want us to have something a little bit looser, it makes just this absolutely wonderful heirloom quality piece or a very durable felted project. All right. And I just need to pause, Fontel, hold on. There we go. Okay, we're back. So that was our Cascade 220 section. And I absolutely love it. It's a great yarn to learn on. It's a great yarn, you know, as long as you don't need machine washing. Fontel has several fabulous. She is wearing to the Into the Woods Ponchette by Nikki Epstein. And the piece I was wearing in the video was the cabled hoodie by Melissa Liebman. We've had that. She did that pattern for us years ago. It's in Mystic Purple, which is $24.50. But it was so cold in the warehouse when we were doing it. So I was really happy for the really warm sweater. But this is a really great piece to wear. It's warm, it's thick, it's durable. It can be an outerwear piece or for somebody who's cold in their office. The 220 is not good for the knitting machine because the yarn itself, it has a lot of crimp to it. It's a Z-shaped fiber, so it's not as smooth. So when they were trying to use it, knitting machines in Peru, because they do a lot of industrial knitting there, it didn't work as well as say the merinos do. It's got a little more body and oomph to it. So it was hard for them to get a really good dense knitted fabric compared to what they could do with the merino. So it's not bad for knitting machines, but on the industrial level, when it's like the lace weight, it doesn't make as good of a garment as it does as a hand knitted garment. So that's a great question, and I'm glad somebody asked it because yeah, I love it for hand knitting. It's a great yarn to learn it's one of my favorite yarns. If I need to learn something new on, I use the 220 because it's my yarn where I know what it's going to do. And if I make a mistake, I can rip it out and I can still use the fiber again. The gray and black ponchette cowl, which is it in her Fontel? There's a gray and black ponchette cowl somewhere in your shop. I'm guessing they're asking.
The one back there.
This?
The poncho.
Yeah, I think that's it, Fontel.
All right, so that is done with 220 Superwash Wave. So that is the adaptation of 220. And I think Shannon can tell you a little bit about the wave concept for that.
Yeah, so 220 Superwash is we came out with because machine wash was becoming more popular. And then we've had a few variations in the Superwash. Oh, the one from the warehouse using the squares, that's the one that Fontel's wearing. It's actually the green. It's the lighting's different here. So it isn't in gray, but you can make it in gray. So she's actually, that's the Into the Woods. And she's actually Fontel's actually wearing that right now.
Yeah.
Different lighting, it'll appear different because the light absorbs it. So if her light's a little bit more yellow tone than we had out in the warehouse, because we mostly had natural light out there, it'll look different. So. But you could totally do that. I would love that actually in two tones, like a dark charcoal, like a jet and a silver, or jet and a charcoal would be my go-to. So, but anyway, we'll talk about the ways we actually hit heritage. Anything else you wanted to do on 220 at all, Fontel, on that?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, I think I'll go back to sharing my screen and we'll start with the next section, which will be the Superwash Merino. And we've got some fun stuff with Superwash Merino. I'm really excited about this. So if I can get this to behave again. Well, let's see. And let's see if I can find where I was. There we go. Okay, there we are. Next stop in our warehouse tour is our 220 Superwash Merino, where we took all the positives about our Superwash and then took anything that people had made suggestions about and tried to incorporate into an alternative to our 220 Superwash. So we went from having a ball shape, we have the skein where it's easier to stock on the shelf, and it's also will hold its shape a lot better, and the label doesn't come flying off. We also
Hey, Shannon, do you hear that we don't, I think when you mute yourself, then we can't hear the video. So if you can just.
I did not realize it muted. Hold on. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, you have to keep your volume on.
There you go.
had made suggestions.
There we go.
The next
There.
stop in our warehouse.
There we go.
tour
We'll start
is
where
our
people's
220
talking.
superwash
Sorry about that. I didn't realize
where
it had
we took
muted.
No worries.
all the positives about our superwash and then took
Thank you.
anything that people had made suggestions about and tried to incorporate into an alternative to our 220 superwash. So we went from having a ball shape, we have the skein where it's easier to stock on the shelf, and it's also will hold the shape a lot better, and the label doesn't come flying off. We also had people wondering why, when all of our other superwashes are merino, why do we not have our 220 superwash is merino? So we made a big superwash, and then we came up with a whole new palette. And part of the palette has grown and developed and developed. We've done 2 Nitaratis with it, and part of that was having some gradient colors that we put in. So there's the 2018 Nitarati had 4 gradient colors that were involved in it. And we had, I believe, some alternatives. So actually we came up with 6 gradient sets of 4 that you could mix and match, put together your own Nitarati back in 2018. And then in 2019 into 2020, we had one that was 1 set of 5 colors that you did diagonal gradient. And we came up with 3 colorways with that, but some people came up with some other creative ones that have come up with as well that were really interesting using some of the existing colors that we have. Absolutely love working with the Superwash Merino. It's got great squish factor. It's really, really soft. It feels wonderful next to the skin. I've got the asymmetrical lace shawl designed by Lisa Gentry. It's one of our new patterns that just came out. Really great delicate lace edge with a leaf on it. Beautiful. It's really lovely to wear. It's dressy, but you can, wear it with jeans, but you can also wear it up, dress it up with your favorite outfit and pick your favorite color. There's almost 100 colors to choose from the Superwash Merino, and there'll be new ones coming for fall. And I was going to introduce you to a few other patterns and then tell you something really super exciting that we've got coming down the pipe, which you guys will be some of the first to hear about. A second pattern that we have that's currently already on our website, and this is a Fair Isle Snood by Monica Russell. And this is with 4 colors. It's a great way to get into doing Fair Isle with 4 colors and getting confidence choosing your colors. You can pick 2 sets of tonal colors that work well together. So you can have you can branch out and get a little bit more comfortable with mixing and matching colors because you're not trying to find 4 completely unrelated. So you could do 2 shades of gray with a red and either a deeper red or a coral, or you could put together your favorite combination of whatever happens to talk to you. And like I said, we've got lots to choose from. We've got almost 100 colors. Another fabulous piece that we have, and these are all free patterns on our website, is this great poncho that was designed by Melissa Liebman. I absolutely fell in love with the stitch pattern one of the times I ran into her in New York. And I said, I need something in the stitch pattern because it just totally talked to me. And have you ever had that where a stitch pattern talks to you? We had one of those moments. So this is a Dartmouth poncho by Melissa Liebman. And it's this really fun piece that is just, it adds interest and texture over any, you could throw it on with your favorite leggings or jeans and a simple top and pick your favorite rich color to wear it in because cable's bold enough that you can get away with some really deep, rich color, or you can do something lighter if that's more of your thing. So here we have the timeline pullover. It's one of our new pieces. This is done by Therese Chenoweth, and it's a fabulous seamless piece with some really fun slip stitch. So it's another really great way to kind of play with some color work and have, one of the beautiful parts about a seamless sweater is when you're done, you leave in your ends and you wear it. It's really, really nice for that. And it keeps things simple. It's a great way to get into making a sweater if you aren't comfortable with it, or if you're somebody who is going to make all the pieces and then have them sit in a box for a year or 2. I'm guilty. The other thing that I was going to tell you about that is what's not common knowledge is we have a new book coming out. You're all probably familiar with our 60 Quick series that we do with Soho Publishing, also known as Vogue. And so we decided to do 60 Quick Knit Squares. And what's amazing about this, and this focuses on the Superwash Merino, but it also tells you how you can use Superwash Aran or 128 Superwash to make your own blanket. You get to choose out of any of the 60 squares to mix and match. And they're arranged by stitch type. So we have a cable section, we have a lace section, we have a general texture section, and then they put together and fun combinations and different stitches. but there's 60 different squares. And then at the end of the book, I guess there, they do show you some fun different ways to put together some of these squares. These are designed to be 12 by 12 squares in the superwash merino. But if you wanted to have something that was bigger, you could use a heavier gauge yarn. And it talks about using swatching. And it talks about, selecting. It's a great instructional, but it allows you to have some creativity within, and it also shows some great colors from our superwash merino line. So the book is about to be available, and I'm lucky to be able to show you guys a preview copy of this, and whoever gets our fabulous door prize with the 27 skeins of superwash merino will get a copy of this book included with it and a Cascade logo bag. So we're very, very excited about this. I think it's going to be a great tool for everybody to use to have some creativity and come up with whatever blanket combination you want to come up with and inspire you to find your own creativity.
All right. I just need to pause this now while we're walking. Oh, goody. I paused it while we're walking. Yay. So for those who are curious, this is the prize, and there's 27 skeins. It was prettier before it rode around in my car, but it doesn't stay sitting super flat. But I took a few of the skeins out so I can show them. But the so the book came to be, and I really am excited about this book because I was at Vote VK Live in New York last year, the last one that actually happened in person. And I was talking to people, and we were talking about the nitty-gritty that was going on at the time. And they were saying, well, I wish there was a book so I could, stores could use it for teaching, or I could put together, mix my squares and this, that. And so I started talking to the editors there and said, hey, why don't we do a book? So we put some other ones from the squares from the thing, but there's a bunch of new squares, but they're all solid color. But I wanted to have it where it's instructional. So there's different edges in it, and you can create your own Afghan. You could do a single color, you can do two, you could do 20 different colors, whatever works for you. But it's something that allows you to sit down and create something that works for you, and you can learn because all the squares there are graded. Like I said, they're designed for 12 by 12 using the superwash merino. But you can, if you swatch, you can see what you can do in something like the Aaron gauge. If you want something a little squishy or a little bit heavier, it goes a little faster, or you can even go to a chunky gauge with a 128. So I thought that was really important for people to kind of give a little bit of permission to use a pattern as kind of an outline. The book will be available in a few weeks. It's on its way here. I'm expecting it by sometime in March. And yeah, I was really excited that we got preview copies. I'm like, guess we can put in the door prize, because we're originally going to give, they could get, we could get I was going to give the instructions for the previous Nitterati. I'm like, this is even better. So, and you can also do it. I love it with the idea of using it for doing things, for making strips to make for blankets for homeless. You can use it however works for you. It's a great resource. Like I said, there's 60 squares, there's graded, there's everything from really simple ones to some really challenging squares. So you can also learn it, use it to learn. You get a door prize, get turned in for a door prize by being here. So if we see your name, they're keeping track, and you will get added for the door prize. And so yes, everybody that's here, everybody that's here is going to get entered for this, and we have a second door prize that we'll be talking about as well. We just figured we'd go big or go home. But the superwash merino is really fun. I did 2 of the squares, 1 square for each of the Nitterati, and had a lot of fun with the swatching, and it really does behave beautifully, and it's got a great hand to it. So Fontel, did you have anything? Oh, and we also developed a very special colorway, which is the one that the door prize is available in shades of blue with a soft gray at the end of it, which is not one of the original ones that was done for this Nitterati. The first one I did gradients of, Trish Malcolm used to be the editor of Vogue. And so she's who I used to sit down and we talk about color concepts. And we would sit and come up with an idea. And the first one was doing gradients, like 4 different gradients against each other where there's 16 colors in all. This one we wanted to do one gradient of five shades of one color at a diagonal. And so it was kind of figuring out ones that would be interesting and different enough that, so it was in seeing how things died and what was kind of trend inspired at the time. So I had a lot of fun coming. Oh, the lavender shawl is the asymmetrical lace shawl by Lisa Gentry. And it is up on our website now, and cascadeyarns.com. We have a ton of free patterns. Montel, did you have anything else?
I wanted to remind everyone that the drawings will actually take place in the second hour of our Cascade presentations. We're going to finish this presentation with the tour, then we'll be off for half an hour, then come back and join us again. And it will be that presentation of Great Yarns and Cascade together, all the models, and that's where the actual drawing will take place. So do come join us again.
And Fontel, she's asking about a purple lavender lilac top on the wall behind you. I have no idea. Probably very back would be my
On the
guess.
very back, it's actually purple and black. It's a triangular shawl and it's done out of cashmere.
Fontel, do they need to be at the second session to win, or will we reach out to them?
We will reach out to them. Well, yeah, well, the only problem with that is that all we have is a name. So it would be helpful, because if we draw a name and they're not on there, we won't know that we need them to email us or call us with their shipping address and so forth, so we know where to send their prize.
And they're asking what time?
What time?
Yes.
Well, we have an hour that starts at 2 o'clock Eastern, 11 o'clock Pacific time. And so I would tell you that it's probably in the last 10 minutes of that presentation.
And they're asking how to access the event. And Gabby can probably put a note in there. So.
Yeah, Gabby, if you could put that in there, yes.
But how they access it. It's just,
Yep.
All right.
So it's a 2 o'clock session, Eastern time.
All right. I'm going to hit the next section unless you have something else, Fontel.
The only other thing I was going to say, Shannon, is that
Yes.
as far as the merino, the 220 superwash merino, Shannon actually developed 3 color palettes. I have one of them here. I have an aqua and a teal, but you can go on the website and see the 3 original colors, as well as the new color that Shannon developed just exclusively for us. So it's kind of a Great Yarns limited edition.
Yeah.
All right, to the video.
Okay. Let's go back to the video. Let's see if I can do this without messing it up. We're doing real well so far. Yay. All right. Okay, and I'm not muted. Yay. Our next stop in our warehouse tour is in 128 Superwash. And this is fabulous, super squishy, chunky merino superwash that is just lovely for shawls, easy care accessories, as well as baby blankets and wonderful cozy garments that knit up really quickly. One thing I think I'm going to start with before I talk about too much about the yarn is actually, since this is our second superwash we've talked about, I want to talk about the care, a proper care of working with superwash. So first of all, it's really important that you understand how to properly wash superwash. If it's a true superwash, it means machine wash and dry. But when you machine wash it, you want to make sure there's enough water in your washer. A lot of modern day washers are high efficiency and they don't use a lot of water, which means you're going to have a lot of abrasion. Regular clothes is going to pill and fuzz when you have a lot of abrasion. So it's really, really important. You're washing this in a machine wash that you make sure that there is enough water so it is not rubbing on something. The second thing is make sure that the space you're washing it in is enough. A large blanket is not going to go into a regular home washer very well without getting somewhat damaged from rubbing on things, because it is still a natural fiber, even though it is machine washable. The third thing is make sure you're very careful about what type of detergent you use. Don't use a regular over-the-counter
regular laundry detergent, because it usually, almost all of them now, as we found out at home, contain some sort of enzyme. And enzymes work, they're great for getting stains out because they attack protein. I'll give you a hint. Well, is protein, so is silk, so is alpaca. Most of your local shops will carry proper wool washes. Soak is a really good one. Eucalin's another. I have a lot of kookaburra I use at home, but you want to make sure you use something that's actually designed for wool and hand knits and natural fibers. The other thing to keep in mind is make sure you're really weaving in your ends and you're leaving long ends, because superwash, because it's been processed, is a little bit more slippery, and you can end up with holes in your garments. If you do a short thing and tie a knot, it can work its way loose and you'll end up with a big hole. I learned this the hard way the first time I made fingerless mitts with stripes in it, and I didn't leave a long enough tail, and just wearing them, all of a sudden I had this big old hole. I was a new knitter. It was a good lesson for me. I have learned to leave a nice long tail, and you really weave it in, because the knot isn't necessarily going to hold. The other thing is a true superwash, and all of our ones that are this type of superwash, they actually are meant to go in the dryer. It helps them bounce back and get back into shape. I just wanted to throw a few little tidbits in there for the proper care and handling a superwash. With that said, we have over 70 colors in our 128 Superwash line. I'm wearing a piece I designed called the Rocky Road Shawl. It uses 3 colors. It is really nice and warm and squishy. And the merino really, what's nice is merino and superwash makes it easier to have next to your skin, because part of the superwash process is they do remove the scales, and also the merino is a finer micron, so it's not going to be as pokey. Another piece that we have is our Pretty Cables cowl in 120. It's also a 128 Superwash. And this is a 2 skein piece that shows off how fabulous the stitch definition on this, and just gives you an idea of the absolute squish factor. And 128 does have amazing squish factor. It's one of those things you can kind of sit, and I like it for reversible cables. I like it for anything with stitch detail. This was fun with a combination, like I said, of some garter along with some simple lace. In addition to that, we also have this fabulous piece here. And this is a wonderful, I have this thing, I love cardigans with pockets. This is like my be all end all thing. It needs to, I like a cardigan, and it needs to have pockets. And it's really a beautiful piece. It's something that works well for a lot of people, and you can dress it up. It's called the Saturday Cardigan, designed by Cheryl Beckeridge. And she really does. And what's nice about this is it's also seamless. So you're not going to have any bulky seams, which can happen with when you get to a chunky yarn. And it really does hold its shape up nicely. And once again, we have that fabulous squish factor. We've got a number of books that we've done with the 60 Quick series. I believe those last 60 Quick blankets, both the first and the second one, use some 128 Superwash in it. And it is something that's a great yarn for new knitters to work on as well, because it works up quickly, and it's got a lot of squish, and it's very forgiving for tension engaged because it's made out of wool. So another fabulous pattern, 128 Superwash is also amazing for quick accessories, warm, cozy hats, as well as cozy mitts. I absolutely love mitts out of both a chunky superwash or baby alpaca are like to die for, because they are warm and they're soft and they feel just absolutely heavenly when you put them on. And this is the nice part about the hats done out of our chunkies, is they work up quickly and the stitches completely pop. This is a great piece by Nikki Wagner. It is the Birch Creek Fingerless Mitts and Hat. It's a set. I believe it's 2 skeins for the whole set. I'll have to double check that. But really great stitch definition. But these will work up really, really quickly for if you need a gift for somebody that's extra special. This would be a wonderful thing to almost anybody to have be loving wearing these.
All right, I'm getting better at my timing. All right, let me pause this. There we go. Good. So that was the 128 Superwash, and we've had it in line for a while. It's a great squishy superwash. The biggest thing I said is if people make a blanket out of, please have enough space in your washer and weave in your ends, because you can get holes if you, yeah. It is an official term. I actually, soft squishy, yeah, it's I start, you can use it with yarn. That's the nice part. Anything you have to add on that Fontel on the 128?
Well, I will tell you, this is one of my favorite chunky yarns. I really enjoy working with it. It's smooth and soft. It holds stitch definition. So I've used it a lot. In our next hour, I will show you a couple of things that I've designed specifically for 128. It's just a lovely yarn. The other thing that I think we've not really touched on, and that is the thing that makes Cascade so, I think, an unusual company is that they have depth of color. Shannon, how many colors are 220?
220, I believe, is around 170.
170 colors of 220. I mean, that's just remarkable. But this is certainly 128 doesn't have that many colors, but it has a lovely, lovely color palette. So it comes in both solids and then it also comes in heathers. So it's just a really nice yarn and affordable for what you're getting. Okay.
All right, so we got to keep moving along because I can be long-winded. So I'm going to go to the next section of the thing because we still have another section or so to do. And then we had two other yarns we're just going to talk about briefly that didn't make the tour. So hold on one second. Let me share my screen. And go. And I'm not muted. Yay. Our next stop in the warehouse is going to be here in the Heritage aisle. And Heritage is our fingering weight superwash merino and nylon blend, also commonly referred to as a sock yarn. It is so much more versatile than just plain a sock yarn, as probably all of you already wear anyway. You know, you can mix and match it with your favorite hand dyed or pick multiple colors doing color work, lace, cables, whatever pretty much you can imagine that you want in a lighter gauge. I've actually done it where I double stranded it and did color shifting with 2 solids to make a really great hat for somebody. So here is an example of a pair of socks that you can make out of our Heritage. We have numerous free patterns on our website. And the nice part is it's one skein of yarn will make a pair of socks. There are 437 yards per 100 grams. And there's almost 100 colors in our solids. We have a pretty remarkable color line that we add on to all the time. I've got a bunch of new colors that'll be coming for fall that I'm really excited about. So Heritage also works beautifully for crochet. This piece is the Graceful Garnet Infinity Scarf by Kristen Stolfus Clay. And it shows off some lovely crochet lace, simple crochet lace on a fabulous infinity scarf that you can wrap it around twice. But you can also use it for crocheted socks, as well as whatever garment or anything you just want to crochet in a lighter gauge, which works really well for crochet, and it's got a really good twist on it. Here we have the Bordeaux Trellis Shawl by Nancy Lex, and really, really beautiful. This shows off how well lace works in Heritage. And it's got great stitch definition. It holds its shape well. You got a little bit of nylon in there for strength, along with the fabulous, merino superwash. And this is a simple one skein shawlette that you can. This shows you how much you get out of one skein. So it's really wonderful for that. So it's a piece that you can wear over your shoulders or wrap around your neck for a little bit of warmth. Sky's coming. You could probably also make it deeper if you wanted to add a second stall, if you really like the lace edging on it. One of my favorite patterns we have in our free patterns is this fabulous hat and knit set, where you can see, first of all, the cables are completely to die for on these. Really, really beautifully done cables. Great stitch definition. Twisted stitches look really good in Heritage as well because of the fabulous twist on it. This is a seamless hat and hand warmers designed by Kim Hassenminer. And really, this is a wonderful in-between seasons when you need just a little bit of warmth in spring or the fall when it's starting to get a little bit chilly out. This is a great lightweight set that you can keep in your coat pocket, or you can have for somebody who needs just a little bit of something to stay warm. And it's lightweight and it's easy to pack along with you. This is the Napa shawl designed by Brooke Nico. And
shows some of the versatility of the stitch and stitch definition of our heritage. This is a 2-skein, 2-color shawl. You can show how you can pick out of the numerous colors that we have to put your own selection together to create your own masterpiece. And this is also a free pattern on our website. We have hundreds of free patterns on our website. So I happen to be wearing the Merlot Wave shawl by Nancy Lex. And it's this beautiful combination of our Heritage Wave with our solids. And what's fabulous about this is the Heritage Wave incorporates 5 colors that gradiate through. Each strand works through the 5 colors. So you can have kind of a more of a delicate, subtle shift, as there is in this or this, where it's kind of a natural gradient, where probably the most subtle shift is through our gray one, where you go from a light gray to almost a black and back again, to something a little bit more vibrant and crazy, where you add multiple different colors in and you get a little bit more vibrance to it. And so obviously the stronger the contrast in the skein, the deeper the stripes are going to be within it. We also have this really fun set here. It was done by Cheryl Beckerich. It's the sock, hat, and mittens. And taking, I think it's 2 skeins to make this full set, but adding a real fun button in with this great extra lid, and almost like a cloche, but a really fun. You can wear a variety of ways, a button on the side or up front, but it shows off. And then you can also make a fabulous pair of mittens, and you can cross-reference, cross-decorate with picking a button, a decorative button to choose that matches in all of this.
So, and that was our little warehouse tour we did. We had 2 other yarns we were going to talk about, but they were smaller sections of the warehouse, and I was getting really cold. I did want to do a shout out to Nancy Lex. I think she was supposed to be here today, and we showed off 2 of her patterns, and she's a fabulous designer from California Canada. Good Lord, I can't talk anymore. From Canada that we started working with, that just does some great, she really does some really great designs, and I'm looking forward to the other things. The set of the buttons, let me look. Actually, I have the name of them here because Carly is awesome, and it's the Sock, Hat, and Mittens by Cheryl Beckerich. These are, if you go to our website, cascadeyarns.com, they are all free patterns. And they are under, if you look under Heritage or Heritage Wave, you will find those patterns there. But also Fontel is going to be having them in her next session. We'll be talking about them more, and she will also have kits available for pretty much everything I showed off. But the Heritage Wave came up, and then I found the Merlot Wave shop, which I absolutely love, and it's nice and big. But it does a great job of incorporating the solid and the wave. And the wave, what it is so Heritage is a 4-ply. And so there's 5 colors that shift through each of the strand, and then they line up when they twist them together. So it gives that marled effect that gradiates through. And so it does all the work for you of doing I know a lot of people have used our Heritage Wave for the finer of the Andrea Mowry pieces. There's a cowl, and then there's the night shift that's been done. People have used a super wash wave for it. So our other 2 yarns we were going to talk about just really, really briefly, because I want to talk about the construction. Sorry, making loud noises. So Cantata is one of our newer yarns, and both of them I'm going to talk about are what's called an aerojet yarn. So Cantata is unusual that it's an all natural one, because it's usually they have some sort of synthetic cage with fiber blown. So how you make an aerojet yarn is you basically make an I-cord, like a knitted tube, and you blow fiber into it. So it ends up being this really, really, really soft, squishy, lofty yarn where you have a lot more yardage than you typically would for that gauge. And we have several, and they're really a lot of fun to work with, and they hold up they wear really well, because you're not going to get the pilling from the plies, because the yarn is on the inside and you get but Cantata is a cotton cage, which is the white. It's an undyed cotton cage with merino blown into it. And it's a great multi-seasonal yarn. Absolutely love working with it. I did a special pattern for Fontel's shop. That's hers exclusive for right now. It's a spring bud wrap, and you'll be seeing that in the next one. But it's one where you can do lace, you can do cables, but it really shows off the stitch definition. And I want to say we have around 20-ish colors in it right now. And I do have more coming for fall, of course I do. So, and so this one, but yeah, this is a worsted weight, and there's 218 yards on this, but it really, really wears well. And if you're in any place, it's, for me, it's probably a 3-season yarn. And although it's not right now when I'm looking at all the snow outside. Yeah, right now I just want to go find some really big, heavy wool sweater and curl up in it. And then the other one I was going to talk about, and this one's been featured in Vogue several times, and I'm going to make noises, is our Luminosa. And I'm hoping I have enough light where you can see it. But Luminosa is this fabulous, it's, my husband kind of just, my husband's Rob, and he's, his dad started the business. But what's amazing about Luminosa is Rob kind of describes it as like a black velvet painting. So what it is you have this viscose tube where all the color comes from, it's a little bit of shine, and then you have black alpaca with just a pinch of wool for loft blown into it. And so you get this really elegant, slightly dressy, hint of shine thing, but it's uber soft. You feel the alpaca. So, but yeah, this one has 240 yards and it does work up, and I've done it on anything. Yeah, there's a hat I did. That was a fun hat. The Luminosa, I would call it to be a worsted gauge, but you can also knit it as an Aran. I knit it on a 9 a lot. And then if you double or triple strand it, you can go up to an 11 or a 13. They did the piece with Kristen, Vogue had the piece with Kristen Ritter on it, on the cover, and she was wearing 3 strands of Luminosa knit together. But there's been a few other pieces that have been in the magazines. And so I did actually 2 designs after that, and it almost looks like stained glass when you get 3 strands of it going together. It's just completely amazing, and you can explore your creativity with it. But Luminosa is really, really a fun yarn to work with. So yes, and yes, there will be there is, this is being recorded. So if you did come in late, you will be able to watch us on demand later. I'm sure Gabby can share the details of that, but that will be available. So Fontel, did you have other things you wanted to add? Because I don't have any of the garments here. They're all with you.
Exactly. All right, so I showed you, I showed the hat. So it's a cabled hat. So again, you can see it, yes, it has a black base, but really does, you can see that it's really a lovely sheen that comes underneath it. Shannon alluded to a piece that was done with 3 strands, and that's this. Now, so this has a green, the blue, the combination of the colors. It's really, it's beautiful.
I think I had silver to that one too. I can't remember now, but I swatched
okay.
a bunch of different colors. But
and then I saved my favorite till the last because I think this is absolutely extraordinary. So this is, I think this is a combination of blue topaz, I think, and what's the other one? Shannon, do you remember the other one? Anyway, it's a teal and gold.
So this is there's a blue topaz, and then the anyway, it was 2 colors, and I've had people mix and match it. Sorry, this happened because we got in 2 colors, and Rob challenged me to come up with something that could use the 2 colors. And this is actually a really easy pattern. It's literally feather and fan that I alternate color.
Really, it's a good size piece. So yeah, isn't that pretty? It's tiger eye.
Thank you.
Other color. Yeah, really, really pretty color combination.
Somebody was asking about the Merlot shawl. Some Merlot Wave shawl by Nancy Lex. It's under the Heritage Wave as well as the Heritage page for the free patterns. And they do have it there, and we will be showing it at the next section.
If you want to see it now, you can go to greatyarns.com, our website, www.greatyarns.com, and you'll see on the home page, it says Vogue Live. Click on that and it will bring up, and it'll bring up a window, and you click on Cascade Yarns and you will see the things that Shannon's talked about this morning.
So actually somebody's asking about the put-ups. Actually, this is a great question. So put up, so we use the twisted hank, the big reason for using the twisted hank, there's several reasons. One, it's actually one of the most relaxed ways you can have a skein of yarn. So the yarn actually has a lot less crimp if it's in this twisted hank. It leaves it as relaxed, and it's actually it'll be more rested than it's in a different presentation. It has a lot less tension to it. So when you do something like this skein, it's for convenience. It's already wound. I have done things what I call a zero tension ball. So you'll see like our heritage prints and what they call a zero tension ball, but we also have a GN tweed. I like that it also looks good for certain sock yarns. So the presentation is often to show off something the best. But the hank is honestly, the twisted hank, we do this because it's honestly the most relaxed state for the yarn to be in. And it does a minimal amount of crimping to the actual twist. And we do not actually typically have cones in. We can do them on a special order, but it's something I have to order in advance, and somebody would have to work with a store on getting it for me. But it would be probably right now, it'd probably be a good 6-month lead time because everything's so slow. But we have occasionally gotten cones in. We don't typically carry them because we normally sell for retail presentation. And you all are very welcome, and it's been a pleasure. And don't hesitate to reach out if any of you have any questions. Seriously, I love answering the questions, as does Fontel. So
yes, absolutely. So we are available. You can certainly get a hold of me. You can email me at sales@greatyarns.com. I can pass those questions on to Shannon. She's a busy girl, but she absolutely welcomes those inquiries. She's she's a wonderful resource. So please reach out if we can help in any way.
And hopefully I'll see you guys in 30 minutes. So
exactly. So yes, I was going to say, we extend an absolute warm invitation to you to join us in 30 minutes again for Great Yarns presentation of Cascade Yarns. That's where we'll have our prizes. And we also have a really fun promo as well. So we have prizes, promos, and lots of yarn. So join us then. Thank you for being a part of this. Shannon, thank you for taking
and
us.
we'll be discussing, there's a really great promo and that she'll be talking about in the next session. This was more of an informational about Great Yarns and Cascade together. So we'll have more about the promos and specials that we have in 30 minutes.
All right.
All right.
Thank you again.
See you then.